Hello!
Hey everybody! I finally convinced Serena to do a live video somewhere cozy. Nice and cozy by the fire.
It's doing the thing that drives me crazy. Okay, I have to keep my head in line with Ian's head. But yeah, we got our Christmas tree today. We just went and picked that.
Yep.
Off the mountainside.
And Serena just got the lights on it right before we hit record.
Yeah.
Or play, I guess.
But we're not talking about Christmas
Nope.
yet. We are talking about markets. That's what we said this live video is going to be about. And the fact that we don't have anymore.
Yep.
So.
Hey everybody who's coming in. Yeah, this weekend was amazing because Saturday morning I got to sleep in. Oh, it's so nice. Because I have to get up at just after 4 for market days, which isn't very fun. And I do like doing markets, but I don't like the sleep schedule part of it. So, I was happy to sleep in on Saturdays.
We got pancakes. Ian made us pancakes.
Yeah.
So that's also good. So tell the backstory about our last market. So we didn't do it this weekend, but we did do it the weekend before.
Yeah. So Kelowna Farmers Market is during the warm months, it's out in a parking lot over by the mall. And then in the cold months, it switches over to our rec center. And because of the COVID indoor capacity limits, we're still allowed to do the market, but there's a very limited number of people that are allowed inside at any point in time. So they had
because backstory to the backstory is Kelowna has a year-round market. It goes indoors for November, December, January, February, and March.
Yeah, and so there's limited vendors inside. We've only been doing this Saturday market for a year, and last year we did like a few markets on the less prestigious days. They have other markets that they do during the week that are associated with the Saturday market, and some of them are good, but Saturday is the one, right? And so we followed it to the winter location because we wanted to try it out and just see. And we were planning on doing a couple of them, but we're really only going to do one this year because as you go through this limited capacity indoor venue, then you were kicked out into the back area where we were, and it was kind of like at this time of year, we don't really have the stuff that's unique. It's not like we got kohlrabi and nobody has kohlrabi, so people got
everyone has carrots and kale.
Everyone has carrots and kale and eggs and stuff like that. And there's a bit less traffic. So everything that we were selling, people were coming by my stand and they already had it in their hands. And so we only sold $250 for the day. And that was fine because we got to see the venue.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that, because other vendors did all right or did okay.
Yeah, and Ian's talked to some of the other vendors, and they said that it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
To do.
But I don't think it's worthwhile for us to do this year at this point in time.
Yeah. And I see people also asking about the roadside stand in the comments there. We stopped doing the roadside stand kind of back in September.
Yeah, people stopped doing the roadside stand.
Yeah, we stopped doing it because they just weren't stopping.
Once it stopped feeling summery, then people were just not expecting to go get fresh stuff. They were like, time to go back to the grocery store.
A lot of our roadside stand traffic is people who are doing, they want to do, what am I trying to say? Fruit. Specifically, right? Yeah. Like people come into our area looking for roadside stands because everyone wants to buy fruit.
Because we're surrounded by orchards and vineyards.
Yeah. And so once September hit, people weren't looking for cherries or peaches, the type of stuff that they all drive to go on these little road trip drives to get. So we just weren't seeing as much sales, and the flowers started to slow down because I think we did roadside stands into September. It was kind of end of September. Because we always sell lots of flowers at the house when we do the roadside stand. So we had stopped doing that a while ago. We just kind of were sticking to the Saturday.
You know, one thing you got to realize is we are on a 5-year plan, and this is only our second year farming here. So we're not expecting to make our full living on this yet. Next year,
I'm not even expecting us to make our full living off of the farm. You know, even on year 5.
Yeah. The big game changer for us will be when we have a roadside stand. So
not a roadside stand, like a store.
Yeah. Just think about like a 30 by 30 structure. Probably half of it or a quarter of it is like a cold storage type, fridge area. And then kind of like 2 glass garage doors on the front that can go up if the weather's nice. If it's too hot, the doors can be down and it can be air conditioned. If it's too cold, then they can be down and it can be heated. And then like a man door in the middle. So it's a nice bright, airy spot. There's lots of this exact layout.
Yeah, it's really common
in the area because there are so many orchards around us. There's lots of people selling different, agricultural products from a building exactly as I just described or very similar. But once we have that, we have a really good location with where we live. Because we're on the right side.
Tons of traffic.
Yeah, like just steady traffic. We're really close to the little town center area because we're in Kelowna, but we're kind of on the outskirts of it. So there's another little built up strip mall of stuff. And as you pull out of that, just right away, you come to our house. As the crow flies, we're within a kilometer of City Hall. We're right in the little town. So as soon as you pull out of this town, we're on the right side just to pull right off. And right now, convincing people to pull down our driveway, which is kind of hard to see, it's a little bit difficult, and then to come into a carport and to shop down there, that's something that dedicated people will do, and people who have done it before because they come to our nursery sale or something like that, or they bought flowers here, or they pulled out in front when we were doing it, so they know the property and they feel comfortable to pull in. But for somebody who's just new and is I'm just gonna not go there, right? It's not as inviting as a roadside store that is it's got an employee at it, like one of us or an employee, we're not sure, but it'll have a person manning it, and it looks all beautiful, and there's very obvious place to pull in and park.
Yeah, we'll have an actual parking lot.
Yeah.
It'll be a store. It'll have hours. It will 100% have an employee because
well, sometimes it might be us who would be manning it.
Yeah, but it'll have somebody
there.
Someone always there. Because it will be busy. If it's not busy, then we can't do it, basically.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about building an actual building. Basically, this would be the second business.
Yeah.
Right? We'll have the farm business, and then we'll have a store, and they will be separate businesses. It will take staff. It'll take money.
but
then
it'll be. It's not
because I see, I saw in the comments someone asking about if we'd maybe work with our neighbors for the fruit and stuff. And the one thing that the store would actually do is we would sell more than just what we grow. In our area, you can have a fruit stand or a roadside stand that sells, as long as you sell 50% of your own grown on property product, you can bring in the other 50%. So we do not want to do any sort of fruit at all. We just bring.
Yeah, we don't want to grow. We don't want to grow fruit because that's a different skill set, and there's lots of spray regulations.
Yeah,
or, you can't have outbreaks.
I mean, what it comes down to
disease.
is if you you should focus on one thing to make money.
Yeah.
And so there's no reason for us to focus on fruit when we're already focusing
Yeah.
on the
Also,
flowers and the veggies.
Our neighbor, he's like, "Do you want cherries? Just like hop across the fence and grab some cherries."
For us to eat cherries or any sort of fruit, there's so much available for us to.
Or it's like the end of a market, and the vendors are always like, "Hey, what do you got left?" Like, "Hey,
yeah, you do the trade.
Your tomatoes look pretty good." And you're like, "Sure, take some tomatoes." Then they're like, "Here's something that you value even more than tomatoes." Like, sweet deal. But
yeah,
like that's our thinking on it, is that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too that we do, because one thing that kind of differentiates us is like everyone around us is fruit, so we're unique in the fact that we're doing flowers and veggies. The other thing that's unique about us compared to like other people in the area is we don't use any sort of sprays. Like we're not certified organic, and we'll never be certified organic because our property is so small. The rules.
Yeah, you need like a big buffer.
It's not big, but
it's too big for 2.5.
Yeah, it's too big for our specific property. But everything that we grow is pesticide free, including organic pesticides. Like we don't use anything. And so I think that if we were to bring stuff in to sell, we'd make sure to bring in organic. So then we could.
Yeah, that would be our little.
Yeah, that would be our
angle.
niche.
Because otherwise we could buy our neighbor's cherries and sell them right next to his house.
Yeah, which we wouldn't like.
Doesn't make sense.
We also like, we don't want to take away the customers from our neighbor. Yeah. Right? Like, so it makes sense to not be competing directly with him by offering this like specialty product.
Just to give you like an idea of how established our little section of street is. Our neighbors have a roadside stand. Theirs kind of looks like a big market tent, and then they've just got some tables out on it, and they're kind of like a multi-generational household. And then the grandpa just kind of like sits out, and
we drove
like
by
all
the
summer,
other day.
All summer he's just out there.
Like one of the grandpas was like sitting outside. And like the stand's closed. Yeah. So I was like, haha, yeah. And then away from the craziness of the house and
next to their house is another fruit stand that just got built this year. And it's kind of like you pull onto the property a little bit, but it's still at the road. And then they have like a big building for it, like an actual building.
Like our neighbors?
Yeah.
I thought that's just like a garage.
It is just like a garage, but it's an actual structure.
But they didn't build it. Did they?
Maybe they just converted it.
I think but it's just trees in the way.
Yeah. It's an actual structure. That's what my point is.
Yeah.
Across the street from us, those people sell so many eggs. Our neighbors on the other side of us, they sell so many eggs. The way that usually people do it around here is they just have eggs available in a fridge in your carport in front of your house or something like that. And people just pull down your driveway and they check to see if there's any eggs left. Because everybody kind of sells out. The point is
totally an aside, but someone was asking if we are still selling in our carport stand, and our veggies are done, but we have eggs. If anyone who's watching is local, we have eggs. Our fridge has been acting up with the cold nights, so we're afraid the eggs will freeze in the fridge, so we haven't been stocking it up. But definitely contact us if you're local and you want to buy some eggs because we have so many eggs.
So the point is that like we're literally this little like business zone where people are already used to pulling off and shopping, right? We don't have to convince anyone to come to our stand. People who are already using this road all the time, because there's like thousands of people that live down this road and use this road to get access to their jobs every day or to go grocery shopping. People are just using this road. And so we don't have to convince them to try us out. They'll give us a shot. If we have like a nice
if we have an actual store and it has like one of those like light up, like open signs. The one thing that we will have to convince our neighbors, like the shoppers of, is that we actually are open. We actually have things more than just the summer, right? Because so many people around us, their season, because with fruit trees, it's kind of July, August is their season.
Yeah.
Whereas we start May. Like I've already been telling everyone who is like kind of finishing up with buying veggies from us. I'm like, May, we'll have stuff in May, and that feels really early for a lot of people. People are.
But that's when some of the good stuff is.
I know, like the bok choy.
Yeah.
Choy boy time.
The greens are so good in the spring.
Oh, and the lettuce.
Now, I think once we have like an actual shop like that to sell from, I think that there could be like some pre-Christmas selling.
Yeah. Okay.
Potential.
So
like Rees.
So I wanted to get into that with answering like what do we sell in the winter.
Yeah.
So someone asked, if your market's ending, then what are you going to be selling? And Ian kind of addressed that already by saying basically we're going to make no money in the winter, which is fine because the farm doesn't actually make money. We're done. I saw someone else in the chat being like, what are you going to do with all of your extra veggies? And we actually have sold pretty good. We only have like one market's worth of veggies
and
really left in the ground. We're
probably going to leave stuff, feed it to the chickens over the course of the winter, like that type of stuff.
Yeah, like there's some stuff that, is just garbage. I think we should empty the carrot beds because I don't want to feed the voles all winter.
We don't want like a supersized vole population.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pull those. There's like a bin. There's probably like 100 pounds. I can pull that and wash it and bring it down to the food bank. And then we have about 100 pounds left over in our garage, and we'll probably just keep that and eat away.
Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah, like they keep really good this time of year.
And they're like the best.
And they're tasty.
Carrots. They're
really
so
tasty.
sweet. The texture is like really nice on them.
Yeah. So
people from all over the place right now.
I know. Yeah. So it's not like we have a ton of stuff that's going to waste just because we're not selling. We actually did a pretty good job of the planning. The amount that we had in the ground was the amount that we needed for the selling. But yeah, so we basically, we're not selling anything over the winter. I have the dried flowers. I saw someone else being like, how did they not sell? And, it makes sense to me. Like, food, 100 people out of 100 coming to the farmer's market eat food.
Yeah.
How many people like flowers? Maybe 10 out of 100 people like flowers. And then it's like, how many people who like flowers actually like dried flowers?
The equation,
and then your numbers start to get like really low.
But the equations on the dried flowers are different because when you don't sell your fresh flowers, that's basically a total loss at the end of that week. Whatever you didn't sell at the market. But the dried flowers, it's like we have the same ones for sale the next week.
Yeah, and the other thing too.
And we're going to put them in storage and then we're going to sell them in the spring.
Yeah, so, and that's exactly. We're probably going to list, like, locally on, like, Facebook Marketplace some of the dried flowers. Someone got the tomato-based line farms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of you guys be saying that you were getting your stuff. Ours said it shipped, and that it would show up mid-December because Canada.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say something about the tomato one. It was tough because it was like it has to look like tomatoes and it has to look like DNA at the same time. So
yeah. I feel like we need to see them in person, like the actual printed out version, to know
because you have this like
how effective it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for the need for seed, but I think it might be hard to read. But who knows? Maybe it'll look really good printed.
Yeah.
So.
I really like
the watercolor, the picture of the house. No matter what, that's gonna look awesome. So we're very excited to get our merchandise in too.
Someone asking, we're not organic.
We're not organic, but we grow completely organically.
Yeah.
Organic is just.
It's a lot of hoops to jump through too.
It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of
And at our market, people will actually quiz me about like growing and bug control or like fertilization, and it's like they want to know, but they're always happy with just no spray. Like we don't use any pesticides, and we don't use like anything. We really don't use anything.
Yeah, my joke is the only thing we spray is water.
Yeah.
But what were you saying? Okay, so sorry, I get so distracted in these videos. Okay, so what do we sell in the winter? So we'll try to sell some dried flowers, but as Ian was saying, the dried flowers, if they don't sell, it doesn't really matter because they don't go bad. Like, they eventually go
Yeah.
bad. But we're gonna store them sealed away from light, not sealed away,
So they don't
closed
get
in,
dirt.
so they don't get dusty. So because the plan all along, I mean, the plan from the very beginning when we started the farm, the whole concept of flowers was we wanted flowers because it's doing the camera thing. It drives me crazy. I think I dropped my phone and maybe it's been having a hard time focusing on two faces at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Maybe maybe it's an update. Okay. Sorry. Bad camera. It makes me mad. Flowers. Okay, the whole idea of flowers in the very beginning was flowers were going to make our vegetables look beautiful. Like the whole concept of having flowers was that if we had flowers, our farm stand, like down at the market, would look so good because it would be like, oh, look at all those flowers,
Yeah.
and it would draw everyone in to then buy the veggies, which I feel like it's really worked because we have people tell us all the time, like,
Literally,
your
like every
display is
market.
the most beautiful display at the market.
Yeah.
And so then this year, the whole idea with the dried flowers was last year, once it hit, well, we didn't, I guess we were at the Kelowna Farmers Market after the flowers were done a little bit, only a couple, and the stand looked really sad without the flowers.
Yeah.
So we were like, no matter what, even if dried flowers don't sell,
at least we'll
be able to merchandise them and then have the same, it's drawing people in with it.
Or it gives people something to look at.
Yeah, something to look at, something to talk about.
You want them to like spend some time at the stand. The longer somebody's there, the more likely they are to pick up more things and buy more things.
Yeah, so with the dried flowers, we're going to put them away. If people want to, like, I'll take pictures before I put them away so that I can sell them. And then if people want to buy some over the winter, they'll be available. But then come early on, come May, when we won't necessarily have any flowers to be selling, we'll have the dried flowers again to be merchandising with. So they'll be there, they'll be available to sell. Yeah, and hopefully we can sell some then.
They've been selling.
Yeah, they've been selling better than I thought because we've been selling at the last market, the
market was slow.
The one we just did was really bad, so it's hard to.
But we sold.
But the one before that, Ian sold $200 in dried flowers, and didn't you do two?
I don't think I sold $200, but I sold over $100.
No, you told me you sold $200 because you told me that and then the other one you said you sold like 4 or 5 of the $20 ones plus $10 ones.
I guess.
Yeah. Like he did 2 markets that sold about $200 worth of dried flowers, which is way higher than I expected. I've been complaining all summer that we can't sell $500 in fresh flowers, so it kind of blew my mind to sell $200 in the dried.
It was so nice to pack them up at the end.
They weigh nothing.
They weigh nothing.
Right?
They're just like empty crates.
The only thing that's like a problem is they're really delicate, so you have to handle them carefully. Yeah. But that's why we put those cones on them. That's so that they don't just get smashed with the handling.
Yeah, but you have to be very careful when you're setting them up and.
Yeah. Okay, but the thing that I wanted to get into, the reason why I was answering the question of what we sell in the winter is that we didn't do it this year. I don't necessarily want to do it next year. But there definitely is a market in like the flower world for doing Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like doing like, even like we could sell trees, right? Like we could bring in Christmas trees if we had a store.
Yeah, I guess.
Right? Like we could set up like a Christmas market, right? And instead of having the veggies that we'd had all year, we could, be selling like bouquets and wreaths and planters.
Once we have
Christmas
that building,
trees.
there's like so many directions we can take it.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of potential for stuff to sell. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we could make soap all winter and sell it, but we need different insurance for that.
Yeah. I like making soap. I wouldn't mind spending the winter making a mountain of soap. But insurance is like $500 to sell soap. So we'd have to sell at least 500
we'd
bars.
have to go hard into it,
right? Because like there's not a ton of profit because the cost is quite high. So you'd have to be selling kind of in the range of ideally 1,000 bars of soap.
Yeah.
For it to really work as a business.
We've been slowly renovating our barn outbuilding as well, and we're talking about doing like
these are the things we'll be doing while we're not selling.
Like courses, dried flower course, flower arranging course, or somebody could rent the space and do like paint and glass of wine course.
You done now?
No, it's gonna be a little while. We told our kids that they had to wait until after the video to decorate the Christmas tree, so they're being impatient. Yeah, insurance. I mean, everyone is supposed to have business insurance to sell soap, and then the issue with soap is the insurance to sell soap is quite high because soap is categorized as a cosmetic. So the insurance that you need is expensive because it's going on people's skin. You're burning people's eyeballs out if you do it wrong, potentially, I guess. Obviously, if you're burning people's eyeballs out with your soap, don't be a soap business. Learn to make some better soap. But yeah. Okay, let's see. We have some other questions here. Oh, okay. So here's a very appropriate question. While Ian deals with kids, someone asked, "What do we do with our kids while we're farming and or making videos?" And I think these live videos are a perfect example of the struggle of what to do with the kids while we're making videos. Because if we both want to be here, actively hanging out with you guys, this is real time. It's not like we can pause it and then pick up again like we can with the videos. We let our kids, for these live videos, anytime we do them, we set them up usually with a movie on the laptop or on the TV. And then, they usually throughout the day, they're like 6 and 4. So they're old enough. Can you close it? Yeah, they're old enough now that, they'll play together nicely. They have enough focus that we get a handful of hours every day of them, doing their thing, being kids without needing us. But they are still pretty much like full time, the hours of food getting that we have to do. It's basically like, okay, you got a half an hour window. Like give them a snack, and then you have a half an hour. So you desperately go and get them the food. Okay, you have to lean back because maybe it's your nose, the depth of your nose.
My nose is too big.
Your nose is too big. The camera doesn't know what to do with it.
Too big.
Oh, it had to refocus when you turned your nose away.
Oh no! Do you know what one of my my personal a moment that crushed me during school when I was a kid, because I do have like a prominent nose, but I never noticed as a kid, and I was in grade 7, and it was like a 7-8 school, like grade 7, grade 8, and these two girls who were in grade 8 came up to me in the hallway, and they were like, "You have a really big nose." And then I was like, "I do?" I'd never realized before in my life. And then I went home and I'm like looking in multiple mirrors and I was like, "Ooh."
We're not. So, if we're gonna tell.
and then it was like it was like a thing for a couple of years until I stopped caring.
Here's my moment of self-awareness in middle school. In grade 7, I was cast in a play. My friend who's into like acting, she's like, "Oh, you gotta like audition to do the school plays." And so I got cast as the voice to represent Limbo. And I was like,
State of Limbo?
Yeah, like it was like there was an actor who was Heaven. It was about collecting like a dead body, and it was like, who's gonna get it? So there was an actor who was Heaven, and there was an actor who was Hell, and then there was the disembodied voice that represented Limbo. And I was cast as the disembodied voice of Limbo. And I was like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, I got a good voice. People tell me all the time. I got a face for radio. Makes sense to me. Good voice for that. But then I realized while doing the play that the reason is that I got cast as Limbo is I have like a manly but also a woman voice. It was like, what is the gender of this voice? But I didn't. I was like, yeah, that's why I can sing those deep notes at karaoke.
I doubt you were that bothered. You're not really bothered by anything.
I definitely.
That's the reason why you can like be ridiculous on camera, not care. Oh, look what I got.
Ian gathered all the cats when he came back, including Bo, who's never inside. But he's ready for the winter. He comes and he gets all snuggly and he like comes in the warm house because he doesn't like cold and wet weather. So he's ready to get all fat. He gets super fat over the winter.
Yeah.
And then just like lounges around, eats and sleeps all day through the winter. And then he has to get all skinny again in the summer.
All the cats are coming out.
Yeah. But he's now the camera's brain is like, okay, put him down. It's too much.
You're bad for the camera, Mew.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there we got Bo up on his cat stand. This camera drives me crazy.
Yeah, the refocusing constantly.
I know.
Maybe there's some way you can turn that off. You can just set like a flat
There
level
probably is.
focus.
There probably is. But me being able to figure that out. How many cats do we have? How many cats do we have right now?
We have 4.
Yeah. Because we have Bo and Buddy. Buddy's the youngest one. And then Mew. Mew's our old man now. And then Fatty. But Fatty lives in the outbuilding. Fatty and Mew fight. So Fatty's not allowed in the house.
Fatty came with the property.
Yeah.
And he
Fatty was the barn cat. They're like, oh, this old barn cat. He's lived here his whole life. We don't want to like move him. And then the moment we moved in, he was like, meow, meow, like scratching at the door, like, let me in. And all he does is sleep inside the barn all day.
Yeah.
So he's really not much of a barn cat. He's a big snuggle bum, but he's a bad cat because he's like very aggressive and dominant despite being so
hobbled with a bum knee and like get 19 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a fun question. Firm market prices.
Yeah. I was like that one.
Yeah.
So someone was asking, like, do we stick to our prices at the market? People come and they want to like barter down. And they were also saying that they sometimes give their regulars deals. So what do we do? How do we deal with that?
You know, because I like to give deals. Not always.
And that is the reason why Ian's been written up so many times that he got fired this year.
You know,
there's no deals.
Here's the way that you can give an easy deal. Say you have something that's generating like 0 interest that day, and like when we had like the little baby pumpkins, they weren't getting any sort of interest. So when somebody would come by that I recognized like week after week, like one of our regulars, and they bought something from us, then I'd be like, "You want a pumpkin?" You know,
and I'm okay with that.
That's because
that's my thing. I'm like, if you give something away for free, you're giving someone something of value, right? Like you're like, this is this much money, but I'm giving it to you. It's like a gift, right? They appreciate it. Whereas if you give a discount on something, you're devaluing your product.
There's definitely people who are, you know, they don't like our prices and stuff. And
my number one rule, this is like my rule, which is if everyone's happy with your prices, then your prices are too low.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because someone should be complaining about your prices or else you're like, what's the point?
Yeah, and I've talked to other customers about it. I don't think our prices are out of line with farmers market prices.
Like, a lot of our prices are low.
Yeah, I think that because I know like the value behind stuff and like just the volume, I'm like, I could shop at our stand and I could outperform in value like from a grocery store if you just went by like weights and stuff like that. And then there's another way that I could buy all the other stuff that isn't included there and I could spend way more. Mm-hmm. But you know, you're always getting the best version of something, right?
Yeah, you can't compare it. You can't compare it
You know,
to the
like
grocery store.
we were selling these cucumbers that were like this long, and they were $2, and it's like, yeah, maybe you can go to a grocery store and get it for in a pack for $5 or $3, 3 of them for $5 or something like that. You know, maybe you could get them.
Well, we sell 3 for $5.
I know, but maybe you.
Well, I think their complaint is someone else at the market would sell it for $1. Right?
Yeah, potentially.
Because there are some things that we sell. We don't sell anything for $1. And that's another specific rule. We specifically don't sell anything for $1 because we don't want anyone to come to our stand and only spend $1 because it's, you know, maybe there are times when it's dead, but overall, we don't have enough time to do $1 transactions.
Yeah.
If we want to have $1,000 market and the market is 5 hours long, you know, and it takes 5 minutes to deal with all the customers, you can't hit those numbers at $1 per transaction, right? So if we don't have any dollar items, we don't have any dollar sales.
Yeah, the idea is if it's an item that's normally sold as $1, then you have to sell it by the multiples.
Yeah,
right. You can't buy it in the dollar quantity.
Yeah, and we do that a lot. We sell baskets.
Yeah.
Right. So we don't sell cherry tomatoes. You can't come and buy $1 worth of cherry tomatoes. You can come and you can buy a basket of cherry tomatoes for $5. And it's the same, like we have like hot peppers. It's like you can buy a basket of hot peppers for $5. And it's like, oh, well, I only wanted one for 50 cents. And it's like, well, then go buy it from someone else. Because we just, you know, we need, even though we maybe have time right now to do that, in the future, we won't. Or if we do have time to have 50-cent sales in the future, then we're not going to be farmers anymore because it means we're literally failing. We're failing. Oh, the last cat. This is Buddy. He's our worst cat.
Mm-hmm. He likes to eat all of his breakfast and then go and puke on clean dishes. That's his style. He started doing this thing. You know, cats go to the and then they puke. Well, he just goes like this. He goes, and he'll like do it right after he eats breakfast. So it's like the entirety of his stomach contents. And yeah, like the other day he did it on like a cushion the other day that was like really hard to clean.
Cats are the worst. They'll be like, I have to throw up. Where's the carpet? Where's the carpet?
Yeah. The other day he did it on like a sink full of clean dishes. He just like puked all over the clean dishes. And I was like, buddy, you're the bottom tier cat. You're the worst. And
all he does is cry too. He just screams at us all day, every day.
Yeah, and then my son was like, I love Buddy because like.
Yeah, Buddy's like a little like masochist. All he wants is to get like grabbed and dragged by his neck. So, I don't know.
We'll be like,
he's cute. He's super cute.
He's a little handsome guy.
Yeah, he's a handsome man.
And he's funny when you're outside because he goes like maybe 15 feet behind you. He'll just like sit. And then he'll sprint past you, you know, maybe 30 feet.
Yeah,
and then he stops.
And cute.
And then you walk past him. And
young.
then he like sprints past you. And he sounds like a little horse when he's running. Because he's like going so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a runner for sure.
You know, he's still a cat. He's still cute.
Yeah, but he's like get rid of him.
He's definitely on the bottom tier.
But he's not as good as Bo. The reason why his name is Buddy is because he's supposed to be Bo's buddy. Yeah. And Bo was supposed to train him up, get him to be a real good rat face. Him and Bo could go and they could fight the rats together.
Yeah.
But instead he just hangs out inside screaming at us. So.
I want inside. I want outside. Now inside again. Now outside. We tire on him.
Yes. Okay. I saw this in the chat and this was also a question. So and this comes back to us talking about organic. Oh, perfect. I think this is someone asking maybe just right now. What do we do for fertilizing and soil prep and stuff?
Well, we amend with compost in the spring mostly. That's what we do.
Yeah,
and we get some really nice compost that has like
so we
chicken manure.
And so we buy compost. I think that's like another part of So how much compost? How many yards?
We bought.
We bought two dump trucks. We bought 2 filled trucks.
Yeah, they're this like big 5-ton with a conveyor
Yeah.
system type truck, and it could carry I think 40 yards, but we had road bands on place. So
Was it that low? Well, how much money? It was like
no.
2,500.
Do you want me to say it?
Yes.
I know all the numbers.
Okay.
So they dropped off. They could drop off 33 yards at a time, and with a $200 delivery fee, that was just under $1,300. And we've got 2 of those loads, and we still have a little bit left.
No, it was more expensive than that because it was $50 a yard. Either that or it was less than the 33.
Maybe they only dropped off. Maybe they dropped off 33 last year. And
I thought
this
we got
year they could do 25.
We asked for 40 and they could bring 30, and this year they could only bring 25 because of road limits, maybe? We got, it's a lot of compost. We still have a little bit left. We wanted to make sure we had enough. That was like our, when everyone was like running around stocking up with toilet paper, we're like, we gotta get the compost. We bought it in March. It was like, oh my god, COVID.
Because the compost is the ability to grow good vegetables.
Yeah.
It's all the amending basically that we do. So
yeah, and so the compost is that we specifically if you guys are local, these guys are the best. This compost is everyone. Anytime I post pictures in the spring of the compost. On my Instagram, people are like, because it's that good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Their name is Black Diamond Soil Services, and they're in my favorite named town ever. It's Grindrod, except for you don't pronounce
Grinrod.
You pronounce it Grinrod, but it's spelt Grindrod. And that's just hilarious. If you live in a town called Grindrod, you need to make sure.
Serena's had this conversation with lots of people.
Enunciate.
And now she's having the conversation with the internet.
It's so good.
And nobody cares.
It's so good.
You're yet to meet someone who cares.
I found people who care for the opposite. I found people from Grinrod who are very, very, very upset that I think that Grindrod is the best name ever. But come on, Grindrod, so funny, so good. But yeah. They have the best compost ever. They are a peat mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's peat based.
It's super fine.
So it's
consistent.
super fine. It's it's so beautiful. It's organic because it's not full of garbage.
Yeah.
We used to get just compost from our local
landscape type places. And it would be filled with plastic.
Yeah, it's everyone when they
or
put their stuff in the
yard.
compost, the plastic gets in it and then it gets all chopped up. So I was like, no more. I'm not picking someone else's plastic out of my compost because people are too lazy to pick up their candy wrappers when they put their leaves at the dump.
Because I have a million business ideas. We could sell this, we could sell that. I'm like, let's just order a shit ton of the soil and talk to these people and resell the soil in the spring at our nursery sale because people.
Oh, I know. Everyone at the nursery sale was like, oh.
Yeah, they're always like, look at that. And we're like, no touchies.
Yeah.
No touchies. It's a bit of a drive from us to go get it. So,
And I think they sell it by the yard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
we're not actually going to do that.
I sell it at the bag.
Yeah, and so it also it is organic. You can also get chicken manure added in. They've offered it to us.
Yeah,
which we do. The chicken manure isn't organic. Because for your chicken manure to be organic, you have to be feeding them organic. And clearly wherever they're getting it from isn't. But because we're not certified organic, we can get away with using non-certified inputs.
Yeah.
So we get some chicken manure mixed in for some extra fertility in there, some extra nitrogen. And it comes it's nice and stinky. It's oh yeah, there's definitely chicken manure in there. But it also is we use it to amend potting soil when we do our seedlings. We and it's not like it's burning or anything. Okay, and then so what we do for because the question here was about what we do for growing veggies because they were like, oh, your veggies look so great.
Yeah, I'd say in a 50-foot bed we probably do 5 wheelbarrows of compost.
like an inch to 2 inches.
Yeah, and then like spread it out.
Yeah, we don't
If
always.
we're tilling, we might till
we
after
might
that.
till it in. We started with the carrots specifically, not. We make sure that it's just on the top, and we plant the carrot seeds into it.
Because the carrots like the moisture when they're like to help with the germination. So the compost holds the moisture.
Yeah. Which is like one of the other things, because we're so sandy and we're also so dry where we are. We want, the compost really helps to hold the moisture in. And also to help, because we're so sandy, if we were to fertilize, just
everything just leaches away.
Just leaches away. So the compost helps hold in fertility also.
Yeah.
We also use fertilizer, right? And we buy the organic one from our local farm store. We don't always put it down. We try to remember to put it down if we're tilling, and then it's tilled in. And then we don't fertilize mid season.
It's mostly we amend in the spring.
But we should.
Yeah.
A lot. I was kind of laughing about the person they were like, oh, your veggies, they look so good, they look so amazing. And it's like, oh, that's definitely some movie magic. 'Cause not everything. I think they were saying specifically my flowers look so good, and our flowers really do not look that great. We grow some real bad flowers. I'm definitely better at growing veggies than I am at growing flowers. But yeah, so with a lot of stuff, especially, like the kales, they definitely needed a mid-season fertilizer.
Yeah.
I think the tomatoes. I noticed our peppers were like going super strong, and then they just kind of fizzled out. And I was like, oh yeah, probably should have fertilized that. That would have helped.
Yeah.
So going forward, we're probably going to look into doing some sort of mid-season fertilizing, because we do try to do everything organically. I don't know necessarily that because we have this like granulated fertilizer. I think maybe we'd look into getting like a liquid fertilizer and do like a foily, you say it.
Foiler?
Yeah, feed, which is when you like spray it onto the leaves and
Yeah,
stuff.
I want to do the seaweed stuff.
Yeah. There's we are not near the coast at all. I saw someone asking about like fish and like, fish manures and like seaweed manures. Those are all amazing. But we don't really have access to that.
Yeah. We're about 4 hours from Vancouver.
Yeah. There's like wood chips in the area. But those don't really, those don't help
the
us.
flowers, they look nice because they're beautiful varieties, and they're still, we still grow them.
Mm.
It's just that, when ours are this big, someone else's might be this big. And so, we aspire to grow them this big.
Thank you so much.
But, right now they're that big.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So,
the other thing too,
we can do better, right?
It doesn't matter what the flowers look like if we sell the bouquets at the end.
They're still
right?
going to be beautiful, and they're still going to be the whatever color you grew them as. Like, a lot of the secret, I think, is in choosing the right varieties.
Yeah.
And
and we're always looking for stuff that grows the best for our conditions. Like we're
just really weird conditions here,
like
compared to the rest
hot,
of Canada.
But then we're short season because we're Canada.
Yeah. We have an actual winter, so we're limited. Like places out on the coast, they don't have the hot summers that we do, but they get to grow totally different things because they're a lot milder in the winter.
Yeah, Bennery's Giant is our favorite zinnia.
So we.
Yeah, I'd say
we're just very unique for Canada.
Yeah.
We're very unique little.
Like basically the bigger picture is like you need to know what kind of growing conditions you're dealing with, right? So if where you are is really humid, you need to be aware that, high humidity means that you're going to have like fungus and like issues, right? So now when you go to shop for your seeds, you want to be keeping an eye peeled for like, fungus resistant varieties.
I'm excited about flowers next year because Serena is now excited about growing ranunculus.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So let's answer one of the other questions here by talking about this. So someone was asking like what our next perennial for our cut flower farm is. Because we talk about liatris all the time, which is a perennial.
Yeah.
And liatris is that's like 5 out of 5 because it's drought tolerant.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
We've
grows
gone
really
on
easy.
about it.
Yeah, like amazing.
Well-
But the thing I was like, oh, we're gonna definitely get to that because we just put in our order, which reminds me we need.
Yeah.
So we put in our order for spring and we ordered like a ton of perennials. We have a really exciting bulb and perennial order coming in for the spring.
The salesman for the company called me up one morning. And he's like, "Wow, you guys are really getting into the perennials, huh?" And I was like, "Yep, yeah." Like
Ian's like buy everything. Ian's opinion on the flowers. He's like buy 2 of everything.
Yeah, because like, why not, right? In the worst case scenario, I'm like,
The worst case
we'll make a
scenario
video about it.
is that Ian then is like, I'm over it. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the end of the tulip video where you refuse to plant everything.
I had done my part at that point.
No, but you didn't plant everything. So if I bought everything, yet again, you wouldn't plant everything.
Yeah.
So it'd just be.
But we would
money.
work together to get it done. But
Says this. Anyways, the story's kind of funny.
So yeah, I just thought, I was like, yeah, it's like a decent sized order, and we've been talking to this guy. Like he communicates with us multiple times a year because we put in a spring order and a fall order or something like that. So he's like, oh, like I'm sorry I didn't get to make it out to like you guys this year because of COVID and stuff. But when I'm in the area, I want to drop by and like, wow, you guys are really investing a lot in perennials. And I was like, yeah. I was like, you should talk to Serena later, like about any specifics because she's the one who put the order in. She knows the stuff better. And he's like, yeah. And then Serena like goes and looks at the order, and it was like the cat walked on the keyboard or something. Thanks so much.
Oh, okay. I really appreciate money, but I also appreciate that you're just giving money to give Ian a hard time.
Give some sass right there.
Go team, yell at Ian.
So it turns out that somehow our like order sheet got screwed up, and we ordered like 1 of everything, and it was
I don't even know how this happened.
It was like $12,000. I was telling him, I was like, yeah, we have 2.5 acres. He's like, oh yeah, where are you gonna put it all? So I understand.
It wasn't like, it was like 3 times bigger than our order.
Yeah.
Like it's
we were still doing a big order, but it was like a massive order, so I can only imagine.
It was a super weird order too, because it was literally like 1 of everything.
Yeah.
So it and like
we have no idea how it happened. Like,
yeah.
But
it was a saved PDF, so it's not even like the cats could have walked over.
I don't know.
We have no. It hurts my brain, but I'm not bad.
We didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
They fixed our order, so what it is. There's nothing like bad that came out of it, but it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be
But
super
yeah, so Ian suckers me because I'm like, no, everything, it's got to be like easy to grow, like it's too much work to do all these things, and he's like no, because
I'm Team Flower.
Ian's Team Flowers, and Ian's all like, oh, flowers, and I'm the one who's like, no, flowers, I'm anti-flowers, only if they make us money. I'm Team Veggie. And so I'm always like poo-poo on the flowers. I'm like, yeah, whatever. We can grow berries giant. That's all we need. And he's like, oh, but look. Oh, but peonies. He was like, oh, peonies. When are we going to buy peonies?
Well, we're talking about buying 100 peonies.
But we don't. I'm like, we'll buy peonies when you have the spot for peonies prepped. Because peonies don't like to be moved. So
Yeah.
I'm like, no. We're not buying them. But Team Ian. Team Flower. That's team money. Well, I'd say overall I'm team money. In Ian's team, like whatever, doesn't matter. But yeah, so he suckered me because I'm team money when it comes to flowers. He was like, we have to get ranunculus because they're so, and I agree. They're like, I see them and I'm like, oh, they're so beautiful. But ranunculuses don't like hot weather, and we go from like temperate spring weather to straight into like
Hot.
right? So like just worst possible weather for ranunculus. I think that it's, you know, they're gonna be like, oh, we're loving it. We're like gonna flower anytime now, and then it'll be like hot, and they'll be like, oh, and we'll get like 0 flowers, and they're expensive. But Ian suckered me. He's like, we'll make a YouTube video about it, and so then we can get away with it. And I was like,
And now what are you talking about getting? Did you get the Lysianthus?
oh yes, now he's got me.
She just keeps going further down the hole.
Ian's okay. I'm all like, we need to be an actual farm business. I'm like, YouTube is great and all, but like, if we build a real veggie farm, like this is something. Like, there's always people always have to eat. We have to be like a veggie farm. This is like our best business. You know, it might not be the most profitable way to go about things. And Ian's like, no, whatever. Like, we'll just like it doesn't matter. And I'm like, no, we're not going to be a content farm. That's what I always say to him when he's like, let's just buy this, I'll make a video. I'm like, we're not a content farm. But Ian's made a lot of videos this year, and he's like, oh, but wouldn't you like to grow this? And I'm like, I would like to grow this. I'm like, maybe we should be a content farm, and I could just make beautiful gardens everywhere.
Yep.
And I don't have to worry about selling veggies. But we're not a content farm.
Yeah.
Ian, we're an unprofitable, very bad at growing flowers, can only sell $250.
Well, once we have that
we're
roadside
the veggies
stand.
farm.
Once we have that roadside stand, we'll be able to sell lots of flowers.
Yeah. Ian, I got my 5-year focus. Ian's trying his best to turn my eyes away from profitable at year 5.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, but like, if we make money on YouTube, that counts towards the farm. And I'm like, that's not farm money. The farm has to be profitable without YouTube money. He's, yeah. Blooper videos. We just put, anytime there's ridiculousness, we put it in the video. Every video.
Yeah.
Every video is the blooper video. Yeah, totally. Ian can come and make the bouquets.
I did that the first year, but
Ian has like mitts for hands, so he's like, oh, these are pretty flowers. And I'm like, I hate you. That was so much work, and now you destroyed them. So Ian gets a pass because he does like big, heavy physical work, and then he also is doing all these like early. No, you know what? He's a guy. That's not an excuse. There's lots of men who can do wonderful, beautiful, delicate work. You know, like Ian isn't delicate because he chooses to not be delicate. Like, my hands are so strong, I can't do things gently.
No, I'm a blunt instrument, is what I say.
Yeah. You know, I married him, so you get what you pay for, right?
Hey, not so bad. It could be worse.
Yeah, no complaints. We have to work with what we're given. You know, and I like, this is an aside, but I'd say in general, when you are the farm manager, it's very important to recognize the strengths and also the weaknesses of your employees and to send them to the tasks that they are the best at and focus your attention on things that, you know, could potentially go wrong when you send your staff to do it. So it's not. And I like putting the bouquets together. I don't mind putting the bouquets together. But I definitely do not like digging holes. And the one thing I refuse to do that Ian will always go do for me is I cannot for the life of me use a rake without dying. Me trying to like use our 30-inch rake is like, I'm dead. Like, it's like, oh, I just like reach it out and I'm like, died. So Ian will always go do all the raking for me. So he's a good man.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. Orchard. Or here. There's one, since we're talking about flowers, Mew is some sort of cross-eyed Siamese thing. Because he's all stupid like a Siamese. But he's none of our cats are any sort of specific.
Well,
breed.
yeah, I saw it labeled once as a traditional Siamese. And then the ones that are weird looking Siamese or something else. But he's pretty derpy.
Yeah. His mom wasn't Siamese
She was a calico
at all. She was like a gray
That's
gray
just
coloring calico maybe. Yeah. So and was there other Siamese in his?
Yeah, like one.
There was one other. The rest of them were like black and white. So he was like, it was definitely one of those like there was multiple dads on that litter of kittens. But he's a cutie.
He's our snuggle bum.
Yeah. He's super snuggly.
You don't really see him in the videos as much because he sticks to the house more. And he goes outside all the time, but he just kind of...
He's super blind. He has like blue eyes. So like when he's outside in the day, like in the sun, he's all like he just like he looks so stupid. And so but he'll come out like kind of in the afternoons for a little bit. He's like an older guy too. He's like, what is he?
He's like 10,
11. Yeah.
He sleeps on Serena's head every night.
Yeah, he's like my little cat hat. He like sleeps on the pillow around. In the winter, if he doesn't come sleep with me, I get so cold. I'm always cold. And so I get so cold at night when I don't have this like little cat hot water bottle on my head. Like I almost need to get like a hat to wear when he refuses to come sleep with me.
And if you were to stay in bed all day?
Oh yeah, because I'll sleep in and he'll be in the bed and I'll like get up and he'll be like, meow, meow, like come back. So he's pretty cute. He's a good guy. Okay, other question: can you grow daisies? So we grow Shasta daisies. I don't know the Latin name for those. But another chrysanthemums are another like one that people consider a daisy. And they're not very high on my list because they, like mums. They're like a fall bloomer, and they're fussy. I want everything to be like drought tolerant, can handle like 100% sun. But yeah. But I ordered some more Shasta daisies. I ordered like a double white frilly one. You're
Sam's excited about decorating.
Sam is very excited about the Christmas tree. How many carrots come from one of your beds? We get so many carrots out of the beds. It is insane. So the beds had 6 rows of carrots. So they're a 30-inch bed. So there's 6 rows across in each bed. And I planted them. We bought a Jang cedar this year for the seeding of the carrots. And the Jang cedar wasn't dropping enough seeds for me because I want them like super, super tight, because if they're super tight together, they don't grow big, and we sell them as more of like a baby carrot. So by having them really tight together, it limits the growth from getting to be like a really big carrot. So they all stay kind of these like smaller, perfect snack size. Oh, our Siamese is both blue-eyed and cross-eyed. But yeah, so there's 6 rows, and with the Jang cedar, with like the carrot wheel at like the densest setting, I ran it up twice. So I ran 12 lines worth of the Jang cedar, and the carrot beds produce like an insane amount. Like, how many carrots, Ian? Like thousands, right?
Thousands,
right? Because our bunches of carrots, when we do them, they're in the range of, kind of like 10. If they're still small, we'll like kind of bump it up into like 13, and if they're like getting bigger, we'll kind of do 8, because we want it to be like, they're probably about a pound of carrots, including some greens. Yeah, and like we'll go and we'll pick like 100, like 50 bunches. We're bringing 50 bunches a bunch. So that would be 500 carrots on that average number. And that would probably be like a quarter of the bed. And some of those ones because the beds were emptying a lot quicker than I wanted, and the carrots were growing, they had too much space, so they had the ability to grow more. So I started doing the double running, and on some of these last beds, it's insane how many carrots are in there. Whereas the average before was kind of like 2,000, I'd say there's probably even like 4,000 carrots in some of these beds. But volume, or weight wise, like I was saying, because there's so many in there, they're not going to grow big. So if what you're going for is to get a high pound ratio per 50-foot bed, you might be better off to space it a little bit more so the carrots can get bigger and deeper. And we talked earlier when we were talking about the compost about with the carrots, we put the compost onto the surface of the soil, and we don't till it in. We do that because in the summer it's really hot, so it's really hard to get the carrot seed to germinate. And then I just make sure to water every single day, maybe even twice a day. Sorry, I was reading the question there. And because the other trick with carrots is to get the germination. My first carrot planting I did is on March 15th last year, and I think this year my first planting I'm going to try to do is March 1st, and those first plantings do way better because it's more temperate, there's more moisture. We get water, we get some rain in May and June, and especially in March, the ground's still a little bit wet from some of the snow that melted off in February. So that's my trick for carrots. Compost to help for germination, and I put a crazy amount. We are zone 5. I don't know if we're an A or B yet. I've been watching it. I default, and that's USDA zone 5. In Canada, we're zone 6. But sometimes I think that we're a little bit colder, so more of a 5A. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know, it's actually pretty warm.
It's hard to say. We get more snow and snow earlier than just downtown Kelowna, where we at, because we're at elevation compared to the surrounding town. Just compared to where I said the city hall is within a kilometer of us. That's a bit lower.
Yeah.
So we're just perched on the top of a hill.
We've been here for over 2 years now, just over 2 years. And, you have to track it, right? You have to keep an eye. I always default. I never buy anything that's warmer than a zone 5 when it comes to perennials, just because, it's not worth the risk. We have a little cold snap, and then those things die off, so I'd rather just be safe.
Yeah, stuff that's good in the cold. Because every now and then we'll get a super cold storm
but
come
we
through.
also,
this is still Canada.
Yeah, we don't have much wind here, which helps for when we don't have snow on the ground. Sometimes the wind can be damaging with the cold. And then we're so dry, right? That sometimes that helps too. And then we do.
And sandy soil can help too, right? Because it helps the roots.
Yeah, keep the moisture. Freezing. Yeah. So, and then the other thing that kind of helps us is, even though we do get down into those, because a lot of the zone temperature has to do with what's the coldest weather you ever get in the winter.
Yeah.
And we will get windows of cold weather, right? We'll get a week of cold weather. We don't get 4 months of zone 5 cold, some other zone 5, and then there's so much more to it than just temperature that you need to know. So zone doesn't really, there's many, I think Chicago is zone 5, but we couldn't be any more different than Chicago when it comes to, growing conditions. Variety of carrots that we grow. We grow 2 varieties. We grow Mokum, which you might have a hard time finding this year. Apparently there was failures on the Mokum crop this year. But the other one that we grow, Mokum is really fast. It produces, I think, in 60 days, which is why I like it. But then the other one that I like the most when it comes to, I know, we're on my cell phone, and for some reason it's Ian. It's having a hard time. It drives me insane. I need to try to fix it. But yeah, so the other variety that I grow is Scarlet Nance, and I like the best for flavor. It's the best tasting carrot out of the two, but it takes about an extra 10 days over the Mokum. So what I do is I plant Mokum and I plant Scarlet Nance at the exact same time. So I have an entire bed that's Mokum, I have an entire bed that's Scarlet Nance, and then that works out perfect for me because the Mokum is ready and I harvest the Mokum, and then the Scarlet Nance is ready and I harvest the Scarlet Nance, but I can plant them both at the same time. So it's like a stagger harvest, even though it's I plant it all at the exact same time, which makes it easier for me. Okay, no coming in here and screaming, please. Okay, I've been trying to get to this other question. Oh,
I think this has to be the last question because the kids are...
Okay, well, there's 2 questions. Okay, so someone was asking about... Yeah, I saw Johnny's has Mokum in stock, but don't buy it all because I haven't bought mine yet. Okay, so decorative grasses. Someone was asking, you guys can, we need 10 more minutes before you can do ornaments, okay? Because you guys are very excited, okay? Why don't you go find some of your ornaments upstairs, okay? Because I think you have some in your bedrooms. Go see if you can find all the stuff they've been playing Christmas for 2 weeks. This has been a long time coming. Okay, guys, come on, just 10 more minutes. Okay, someone was asking about decorative grasses, and they were asking about where they get the seed for decorative grasses. No! What I said is go away for 10 minutes. That is what I said.
You said that you have.
I said, why don't you go see if you can find ornaments in other rooms of the house? But what I actually meant was go away. Yes, you can bring the snuggly ornaments with you. Okay. Sam, you too. Go check in your bedroom. I think there's ornaments under your bed.
No.
Yes, they're very excited about this. Okay, decorative grasses. Someone was asking about where to get decorative grasses that you use in bouquets. And I was going to talk about this because we did a big perennial order, and we actually ordered up a bunch of decorative grasses because I've been using some in my dried bouquets, and those are from my mom's house. I went and I stole a bunch. I cut down a bunch of her decorative grasses and stole all the flower plumes from her decorative grasses. But yeah, so there's two ways to get the decorative grasses. There is perennial ones, and so because I'm zone 5 here, I'm looking for ones that survive in colder weather. If I was in a zone 7, there's only one decorative grass. Okay, too loud, please. There's only one decorative grass I grow, and that is pampas grass. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. We used to live in a place that was zone 7, and there was a neighbor who had pampas grass and it was gorgeous. We loved it. So pretty, but it won't grow here. It dies here. But so for zone 5, the perennial decorative grasses that we bought this year are different miscanthus varieties. Right? Ian?
What's that?
Miscanthus? Miscanthus?
Miscanthus? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure miscanthus. Yeah, I know we ordered that. We ordered one that we're super excited about. It's cold hardy. It's called Miscanthus gigantus. It almost looks like bamboo. It gets 12 feet tall. It has the look that, yeah, I think that's how you spell Miscanthus. Maybe US at the end instead of ES. But if you put in miscanthus grass, even with weird writing, they'll know what you mean, because that's one of the most common perennial grasses. They're really great. One of a classic miscanthus around here, everyone grows this. It's called Carl Forrester, super drought tolerant. We have some around our property that must have been planted a decade ago, and they just keep coming. Okay, so it's not a pampas grass, it's pampas grass, Pampas. Because if you try to find pampas grass, you'll find a lot of the grasses that all have their noses upturned. But yeah, I love it, but you need warmer weather. Yeah, so we're excited. We're gonna be putting some of those in. They might not necessarily have flowers, like the seed flowers. No, okay. So the miscanthus, that exactly.
Ta-da!
Okay, that one's glass, so please be careful with it. Yeah, we're obviously always on the lookout for stuff. Yeah, there we go. Miscanthus. That is totally how you spell it. Yeah. Invasiveness, especially when it comes to grass, because all we do is fight invasive grass. With all the couch grass here is one of our big concerns. But most of the ones that I looked at, they're called a clumping, which means that they stay tight together. They don't do runners. And you can get clumping bamboo too. Because my mom has a cold hardy bamboo that's like a clumping bamboo. So I have some of that coming my way because she's dividing her clump this year, or this spring probably is when it'll happen. But yeah, obviously make sure to do the research. You don't want an invasive one. And I also think that a lot of the grasses that I ordered, the seed, they don't self-seed. The seeds are not like a viable seed. You can only divide the plants, and then if they're growing in good conditions, kind of every like 3 or 4 years, you probably want to divide the plants, and then you just keep getting more and more. One that we have coming is this Miscanthus gigantus, which I was saying it's like bamboo. It gets like 12 feet tall. It's gonna be crazy. And it can get a flower, but I think it doesn't. My mom said she grew it, never flowered for her. Like the season was too short here, or it wasn't hot enough. I don't know. Yeah, but she said that it doesn't really flower when she had it before. But we're gonna use it. We're gonna make like a hedge. We're gonna put it down in the chicken coop. And we're gonna make this, like grass hedge for the chickens, which will give them a little bit of shade, and it'll protect the bottom of the fence, because some of the chickens have been digging out the bottom of the fence and escaping into our neighbor's yard, which is a recipe for death. So in a few years we'll have this little flower or this grass hedge that will be some shelter for them. But you can also get grasses that grow from seed. So what I was talking about with the miscanthuses, those are perennial grasses. There also are annual grasses, which means you have to plant them every year, and they grow pretty fast for getting like a harvest. So I think if you're looking for those are a good option too. And this year I definitely have my eyes peeled on 2 varieties. This is the year of grass. I know. Here, go put it on the tree, please. Yeah, and so the names of the 2 that I'm excited to try are Highlander and Lowlander. They look really cool. They look almost like a millet. But there's lots of grains too that you can grow. There's like broom grass that you can grow. There's millets, even like oats and rye and wheat, all those type of things. Lots of people grow for in their bouquets. Or just weeds. Go pick some weeds. I picked a bunch of weeds, especially for the dried flowers. I had a whole pile of weed grasses that had little seed heads that I went and picked, and I think they look really cool for texture. I don't want to go too crazy with the grasses personally, because I'm obsessed with amaranth, and so I don't need grass because I would just have all the amaranth in the world. I'm gonna plant a lot more amaranth this year, and I feel like if I was putting a ton of amaranth and then also a ton of these grasses, it might just be a little bit too much of the same thing. And if I had to pick one, I'd pick the grass. Ian's giving me the hurry up. Okay, one last question. Orchard. Someone's asking
Daddy, one more.
asking when are we gonna plant our orchard, Ian?
Never. We already said that. Now we're unplanting.
Yeah. So I definitely was like, okay, we have to answer that one because it's so funny. So the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is now. This is a saying, and I wholeheartedly agree with it. So one of the first things we did when we moved here
Yes, plant a bunch of fruit
is that
trees.
we bought like a dozen fruit trees and we planted them all. And we're like, yes, awesome. Like, we got these fruit trees, we got like one of everything.
But then they're in the way, and then they need to be sprayed.
Yeah, but yes.
Because we have codling moss, so apples and pears.
Everything of that family has to be sprayed. And then we didn't water them. And then the deer came and they ate them. And Ian was like, I hate these trees, they're in the way. Because they're like down at the end of the farm. Okay, gentle please. Yeah, is where they were planted. And so he'd been like all year, he was like, I hate these trees, we need to get rid of these trees. And I was like, fine, whatever. We're not ever going to be starting an orchard. Or, it's, if we need, no, do not do that. No, Sam, no, okay? You won't get your treat. No, there's no light on it, okay? It's only a disco ball because it's reflecting. He's like, I'm gonna turn off all the lights. Don't do it, okay? Yeah. Anyway, so the moral of the story is, we ripped out all of our. No, Sam. No. Okay, go show Daddy. Yeah, we ripped out all of our fruit trees, and so. Yes, we agree that the best time to plant a tree is as soon as possible, but we've embraced the no tree life. We're growing veggies and we're growing flowers. We might, in the future, we might plant some decorative trees, especially if we build this permanent store type structure. Once there's a building, we'll know where we can safely plant trees and not need to worry about cutting them down. But it's more important to us to continue to be not using sprays and pesticides than growing our own fruit, especially because we live in an area where there's so much fruit. On the property we have 3 full-size apricot trees, and here in our area apricots grow super easy, and you don't actually have to spray the apricots at all. So if we were living here, there was no apricots, we probably would plant an apricot and have apricot trees. But because we already have apricot trees, we don't need to worry about putting those in. And then we also have cherry trees on the property, but because our neighbor is a cherry orchard, and they get full of worms and things that cause issues for him. So we've been working on taking out the cherry trees even too. The cherry trees that we have right now are where we're talking about putting the peonies, and obviously you all want to see peonies more than you want to see us harvesting a handful of cherries. So gotta have priorities. Yeah, so the roadside stand that we're talking about is going to be an actual building. So the list of things that we need to do to be able to do that is it's massive. I'm okay, the very first thing we need to do is we need to figure out where our septic system is for our house, because we need to know where we can dig a foundation, because we're talking about putting in an actual thing. There'd be permits, we'd have to hire people to build it. We have a berm on the. So yeah, they built up this berm thing, which makes sense if you're a private home, because the road's quite busy and it's noisy. So it does do some sound blocking from the road. It definitely has privacy aspects, but we're gonna have to level the berm, because that's where the parking lot and where the access in to this store is. So it's a really big project. I would love if we were going to be working on it over the winter, but I'm also, if I make the list of things that I want to get done this winter too long, nothing will get done. And What I really, really need to get done this winter is I need us to get some sort of like walk-in cooler. We're talking about buying a trailer, and so that needs to get done. I really, really, really need all of my irrigation to be on an automated system, because I spend about an hour a day walking back and forth, flipping like, oh no, this zone, now this zone, to do it manually. So I need that automated to be able to have more efficiency and for my watering to be better, which means I can grow better. And then we're also, yeah, exactly, permits. Here in the Okanagan, it's like pulling teeth trying to find any sort of tradespeople too. So even if we already had a tradesperson, you know, they'd be talking, 9 months from now is how long it would take. But yeah, okay. We have to go. The kids will not wait any longer.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much. Focus on first. Veggies. Veggies are the best.
I mean,
Front yard, we planted herbs in our front yard. Never. But because they're pretty, they're perennial, they don't go anywhere. Okay, but we gotta go.
we're gonna have
a Christmas tree video.
Yeah, we're making it today.
We filmed that. It's gonna be really pretty. The tree, not so much. The tree is definitely not. We're not gonna be
nice. It's nice and full.
Yeah, well,
No, I'm fine.
nice is relative. We definitely are not a home decor channel.
This is a fart.
We're not going to be giving you guys.
Leah drew a cat.
No.
Oh wait, I did that. That's my drawing. I like my little mouse that the cat caught.
I don't know. You didn't X out its eyes. Oh, you did X out his eyes.
I totally X'd out its eyes. Like, oh, there we go. That's my cute little mouse.
I'm like, I don't like mice unless they're dead.
Wait, what is his name again?
The cat? The cat's name is Kit. Do you want to say hi, Leah?
Kit.
Our daughter is quite the artist, so
Yeah,
we have lots of drawing
Do you want
contests.
mine?
No.
A remote control for video games. Okay, I have to go because the kids are like losing their mind. But yeah, we got some videos coming out. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
No.
It's always crazy how many of you guys want to come and hang out with us for these ridiculously long live videos where we have a hard time reading the chat.
Well, it's nice here in this cozy spot.
I know, it's nice and warm. It's all festive.
Mm-hmm.
We've decorated with cats. Okay, we gotta go. Okay, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye.